Hello everyone, right, second day here, and we have just finished putting all the noggins in, so we've got them there, and these are secured into the wall using some big beefy screws. I don't know if you can see the screw in there. Let me see if you can see it better on that way here, just in there. Some screws into the next joist of this over along there. What I did is I notched them out and then put it over the top. Just gives the pipes a little bit of extra protection. And that's now secure. So the next stage is to put this sheet of plywood down, cut the next one and fill in the gaps, and then we can start laying that in there, which is the backer board. So yeah, this is good, looks nice, and we're going to crack on now. Right, first sheet of ply is down, done them every 200. So it's nice and secure on all three joists all the way along. And the other thing I've done is I've marked up the waste pipe and the water pipes, where they start and where they end. That's more for my benefit really, so that I don't drill into them. But say for instance somebody did ever come and lift these tiles up and then lift that backer board up, they would see that. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish it on this side. Finish this strip here, and then we are going to prime this with PVA, and then we'll put that backer board on. So we're now at a point where we can just walk around on the floor. All of these have been screwed in. I've done the same again. You may remember, or if you've seen on my channel, I did a video about how to install flooring for a loft. I'll post a link to that just up here. And I showed how I always draw on floorings or subflooring so that I know what's where. Well, I've done it again. Water pipes. This comes along. Waste, because this waste channel goes all the way out the building this way from here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to coat the thing in PVA just to prime it, seal it, and then we'll be putting the backer board on top, straight on top of that. This is the backer board product here that we've got. Called Jacko board, 12mm stuff, and again it just goes in like that, sits down on top of the thing, and then also having these marked up, I know where to avoid, and I can see where to stick this board down. And then you're going to see we're going to be pretty close with our levels here. 3mm of grout, 4mm of grout, and then the ceramic tiles on top. We're going to come up there. We're going to try and, well, what we're going to do is we're going to sneak them under at the edge here, and then we'll grout round. So I'll probably just notch that out a little bit there. But we're in good shape. And yeah, so we're going to PVA this now, and I'll show you once that's done. Always work from the wall back towards the door so that you can get your way out. And we're going to be using a little gloss kit, but a foam roller here. You don't want one of the soft bristle kind of wool rollers. You want a foam roller like this, because it applies it much easier. It's quicker and easier to wash as well. So that and that, straight down on the floor there. Right, put on a liberal amount of this. These are foam bubbles actually, so it's not actually loads of it. That little roller creates bubbles, but that's fine. Those will pop and it will all go down. Right, we made some good progress. 1 o'clock in the afternoon now, doing well. We have started to tape the joints, but we need to actually put the little washer, these washers on. We need to screw them down. We've jumped ahead, so we need to screw these down to hold the boards in place, and then we'll just place a little strip of tape over that as an extra. And then what we're going to do is we're going to paint all of these with a waterproof adhesive primer. And what I've done is, obviously this is going to be completely covered in adhesive and then tiles which will bond to the backer board. So there's a lot less benefit in writing where all of the pipes are, except for our benefit now to show that we must not put a fixing through there, because we've got the waste pipe and the water pipes that run straight down here. Similarly, there's water pipes there and they run across here. So all I've done is just quickly knocked up some markings on there so that we know for our benefit that we've got to avoid that, and that we can go here and we can go here, but not there. Like Minesweeper. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we're going to crack on making sure that this is nice and level. We've been checking it for level as we've gone along, and we've got a really good level the whole way across now, which is really good, and we're going to maintain that, obviously. This side can come down a smidge in there. But yeah, we check it at diagonals as well, because it's good to make sure that you're square the whole way across in 3 different dimensions or 3 different planes. And we'll check it lengthways as well. So it's good, we're getting there. Right, we are level across, level across that way, and of course we're level across this way as well. So that's good. We're in a good position here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit more up here around the back of the bath, and finish off that section there. We're not going to be tiling around the back of the bath. We might add some offcuts, but we don't actually have any more of these wall tiles. This was done ages ago. But what I want to do is be able to take one of these little corners, peel all this off, and stick it back there like that, so that this is completely tanked and dry. So I'm going to stick this to the wall, stick that to the wall, and then should any water get... Oh, and we're going to tile the whole way up to under the floor as well. Before, the bath, as you saw, was only tiled up to there, or here. So we're going to tile the whole way up, and so this floor will be completely tanked, and that'll work really well. Just taped over the joints, and we're going to go around in a second with the primer adhesive that goes on top. And what I've done is I've actually used tile backing adhesive to stick those backer boards to the walls, and I've put some on top here which will set up nicely. So that's completely waterproof now from any water that would come down here. I'm just taping up the joints and taping in the corner with the gasket corner, and I'll run a little bit along here. And then any water that should come under the bath this way, it's completely tanked and completely waterproof. Right, so this is what it looks like. You can see all of those are under the tape. That's the gasket in the corner. This is all of the rest of the tape. So it's nicely tanked and secure the whole way around the bathroom, which is perfect. So now we're just going to let this go off. It goes off quite quickly, 25-30 minutes, something like that. And then we're going to be grouting and laying the tiles. Right, just a quick tip when laying tiles. I'm not a tiler, so I'm not going to do a video. This isn't a how-to on tiling specifically, but what we have done is we found the midpoint of the whole room here. So midpoint from left to right and front to back. And then you start tiling from the middle and work your way outwards. Having said that, we obviously have quite a bit of gap to make up, which we can lose in the adhesive under the tile. And so what we're going to do is we're going to find the lowest point and start from there. But at least by knowing where the middle point is, we can figure out how we have whole tiles the whole way, and then just smaller offcuts at the edges as and when we need them. So what we did last night, and I didn't bother showing you this because I haven't got any kind of handy tips and tricks for cutting tiles, and also they're always specific to the area that you're cutting them in, but we spent a bit of time cutting the profiles out for these things so that we can slot them in and, you know, put them in there nicely up against it. And then we did a complete dry fit of all of the tiles so that we know where they're going. And also something else which I always do is I draw the line of where the grout is going to be, so that, and then I label the tile where it's going to be laying down in the orientation, so that 2 will perfectly lay down over that 2 there, so I know that that is the way it goes, just so that if it gets moved, you know exactly which one it is and where it's going. So I know that tile number 8 is going all the way over here, slotted up against the wall over number 8. And so you just do that on each of them, all the way around, label them down. And now it's time to lay the adhesive. We're just going to do a final quick hoover, get all of this dust up, all that sort of stuff. We've filled the holes at the back here with some expanding foam just to help insulate a little bit. And oh yeah, one of the tiles, it's really funny, one of the tiles got knocked at the bottom here and it just sent a perfect crack through here. So we've kept it and we've got some super glue. So we're going to glue that before we do the floor tiles, just to help secure it in place. So we're going to do a quick hoover, and then something which is really, really helpful to have when you are doing floor leveling. It's a laser level, because it's very, very difficult to see sometimes across a span this way and a span this way what exactly level is, versus having a little thing set up like this that self levels. You know, you stick it down, it self levels across the floor and you know exactly what level is or is not. Something like that is far, far easier to work with, and it gives you the midpoint of the room, etc. And then you can lock it in place, or you can unlock it, and so on and so forth. So yeah, this is what we're going to use to help us maintain a nice flat level and work up to where we're going to be for the top of the tiles. Okay, so we're at the first row of tiles done. Nice smooth buttered edge the whole way along, and this is nice and level across here. And what you can do is you can slide it across like that, and if it doesn't catch, then you know it's nice and level the whole way along. The other thing we've done is we've leveled it this way as well, front to back on all the tiles. So these tiles are nice and level, which is perfect, and then what we can do now is we can set a level off these ones. That gap over there we can grout, that's fine. It's going to be behind the toilet. The ground drops away quite significantly, so we're tight up here and low down there. Even though we try to level it through the joists as much as we could, there's always some imperfection in the floors and the walls and whatever else. So that's what that is. It's also worth pointing out now, the reason that we've come along this line and now we're going to work the lines the whole way along is two reasons. One, the floors and the walls are not entirely square and plumb, so we've had to shave a little bit off of each tile as they've come along. And two, because we've got these unit fixings in here, it's going to be very difficult if we start from the middle and then we have to try and slot them in and level them down. It's going to be much harder than if we work along the walls like this, or even start from that end and work along here, which is the way I've started over there and gone from the difficult parts to the easier parts. Now we've got a few whole tiles for the next couple of runs, which is nice and easy, and then we're going to have a couple of cutouts there and a couple of cutouts there. As I said at the beginning of this, I'm not a professional tiler, it's just I wanted to show you this is the end of a process that I wanted to show for another job. So if you want a full tutorial on tiling, then look elsewhere. So just over halfway now, got another 2 and a bit tiles to do, 3 tiles, which is fine. So level the whole way across, which is nice. And with the little one, you can slide it across and it doesn't catch, which is great. So that's nice and level. The tile leveling system is helpful. I mean, they're inexpensive, cheap plastic things from China, so they're good, but obviously it doesn't make up for the fact that you haven't got enough grout under the tile, or if you haven't got enough adhesive under the tile. So you still obviously have to make sure that you've got that accurate, which is a very difficult thing to do. Figuring out how much you need to add under there is very hard. And we're actually having to make up a fair amount of the floor level in these tiles, because whoever did this bathroom before leveled the wall tiles. They didn't bother leveling the floor. They laid the floor and then they put the wall tiles in and just cut the wall tiles. You can see the bottom ones are the ones that are cut, and they cut them at the angle of the floor. So you can see there's a big hump there and that, a big deviation, because they didn't bother starting from there and working up. They started from the top and worked down and kind of went down onto that. So I've flattened and leveled the floor, but then I'm having to make up levels where the floor is level but the walls are not. It's just what it is, you know, one of those things. So yeah, getting there. So I have finished putting the tiles down. All the adhesive is on. There are a couple of bits here which are out of square, and that was because of some pressure that was being put on the tile down at this end that nudged it across. Thankfully that's all under the bath, so I'm actually not bothered. I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. All the bits that you can see that are out, that are visible, that's what matters. And I'm really happy with the way it's come out. I'm also really confident I'm never going to tile the floor again, because this has taken me probably 3 days to get this all done. Just to this point, haven't even put the surfaces back in and haven't put the grout down. The reason it's taken me 3 days is because, as I'm not a professional tiler, I've not mastered the art of this thing, and other than this little bit down here, I am meticulous with making sure they're all the same size, width, they're all level, they're all square, and all the rest of it. So because of that, I know I'm just going to stay in my lane. You know, I'm going to stay in my lane, stick to what I'm good at, stick to what I know, which is general carpentry and building, and the odd bit of joinery here and there. But it has been a really useful process. It's been good, and I've been doing it for a friend anyway. Like I said at the beginning of this has all been to help out a mate of mine who lives here and who needed it done. So, you know, it's good. You know, I've not charged him anything, so it's good for him, and it's been good practice. And it's also actually been helpful for me to realise why I don't like doing this and why it's better for me to leave it to the pros. So if you're a professional tiler out there, please do like, comment, subscribe. Leave this as a video as to why you should not tile floors if you're not a tiler, and you know, send me your contact details. If you live in Southeast London or Central London, I would be very interested to speak to you if you're a professional tiler, because I want to hire your services when I'm doing jobs. I'm happy to acknowledge the extent of my skill and where my skill ends. That is perfectly flat and I'm really happy with it, but I never want to tile a floor again. If you did find this useful, please do like, comment, subscribe, all of that, and I will see you on the next one.